Welcome back to Coinscrum Markets RFQ. It's a pleasure to have back to the show David Olsson, Vice President of Institutional Distribution at BlockFi. David, welcome back.
Thanks so much, Tina. Great to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you. So BTC, there's been a lot going on the last couple of weeks and quite a lot of market activity. What are you guys seeing in the market at the moment? What are people doing with their BTC?
Yeah, so I think one of the themes that I'll pick up on first is just sort of corporate and institutional adoption.
Yeah.
We're seeing on our side a huge explosion in the number of corporate accounts on our platform, and it's sort of running on the heels of MicroStrategy last year, adopting Bitcoin as its reserve asset, and we're seeing small and medium enterprises coming on, buying their first crypto or investing in stablecoins to earn a better yield than they could get at their bank, which is really interesting.
So do you think they're just buying it and holding it as a portfolio hedge? Are they using it as a payment method? Is there BTC Bitcoin flowing through from a payments perspective, or is this just literally institutions buying and holding?
I think for the most part, I think they're seeing it as a store of value. Right now, there are a number of places where people can spend Bitcoin. There's something like 2,000 globally. Notably, places like the Dallas Mavericks, which is run by Mark Cuban or owned by Mark Cuban, accepts ticket payments and merchandise in Bitcoin. You've got Pizza Hut in Venezuela. You can buy a pizza in Bitcoin, no surprise there.
Yeah.
And also AT&T, which is the largest mobile carrier in the U.S., accepts Bitcoin. But it hasn't gotten to the point where you can walk to the corner and buy things in Bitcoin, and it's probably got a ways to go. So we are seeing that there's, it may be as a marketing ploy that some of these companies are launching it and just kind of riding the wave of excitement.
Yeah. So what would the tax implications be of paying in Bitcoin? I guess for both sides. So Dallas Mavericks is offering this. Let's say somebody comes in and wants to buy a season ticket package and it's of significant value. How are those tax implications coming into play?
Sure. So the US government and the UK government are both looking at crypto as an asset class instead of as a currency. So in the US, at least, if you spend your crypto and use PayPal to buy something, or you pay your mobile carrier such as AT&T in crypto, it'll be taxed as capital gain. The same as if you were just to sell it in the market. There are some technology solutions to address that. So TaxBit, for example, but it just gives that extra step, and it means that stable coins really will be the way forward in terms of using blockchain rails as a payment method. If you look at, for example, Bitcoin can only process 4.6 transactions per second. Visa is 17,000. You need something that's scalable, like a Visa payment network.
So we had Jeremy Allaire on last week talking about the exponential growth that Circle has experienced with USDC over the last year. So, the stablecoins explosion really is impacting the market. But how do you think it's impacting payments? What's the opportunity there?
Yeah, so stablecoins are one of the most exciting parts of what's happening in blockchain right now. The ability to move fiat 24/7 outside of the banking payment rails, faster, more efficiently, with lower fees. There are two types of stablecoins: centrally backed, as I'm sure probably Jeremy explained to you, and algorithmically backed, and his is a centrally backed coin, where there's a reserve asset, US dollars, held in a third-party account, and tokens issued off the back of it, and hopefully those reserves are audited. There's been a lot in the news about Tether recently, and what's backing Tether, but still it's seen a 500% increase in its market cap to 25 billion today. So, and a bigger increase than Bitcoin's last year, which tells you how meteoric the rise in this in this asset class. The other type of stablecoin are algorithmically backed stablecoins like DAI, which are created when someone puts Ether or an ERC20 token on MakerDAO. They mint DAI, they take DAI as a loan, and then they can go and trade it against various cryptos or trade it into another stablecoin if they'd like. And I think the unique thing about that protocol is that they control the peg through the interest rates on the loans and the collateral requirements. So it'll be really interesting to see how the two ecosystems evolve. And there's a lot more going on from an R&D perspective in the stablecoin space.
Well, in the last 8 months now, I guess we've seen a crazy amount of development and some really interesting products emerging from the DeFi space. And obviously, DAI plays a significant role within that. So from a lending and borrowing perspective, what are you seeing in the market overall?
Yeah, so I think that the role that stablecoins play is becoming increasingly important, as a lot of the action we saw recently happened during the holidays, over weekends. And so then the question is, how do people manage to move fiat onto platforms so that they can trade it into crypto or trade crypto out and then move their fiat off the platforms? And so basically the only way to do that is through stablecoins. So we've seen a huge surge in demand for stablecoin loans. And rates are still, a good 2-3% higher than they were a few months ago. So even with Bitcoin's kind of slide over the last couple of weeks, just the trading activity and volatility has meant that there's still an increased demand for moving assets 24/7.
Have you seen that a similar pattern across your entire client base? So, is your institutional client base and your retail client base operating or acting similarly, or are there differences between them?
That's a great question. I think the institutions are getting the infrastructure ready. We've seen a lot of large hedge funds and asset managers coming in. They're getting the infrastructure ready, and conversations that we've just had since the beginning of the year with household names. I think that they're not quite so sanguine on buying Bitcoin at 40,000, given the run up, but they're getting things ready for to make an entry into the space. I think retail obviously was very bullish on the way up. We saw at BlockFi, our retail client base actually turn negative and net sellers on Bitcoin last week for the first time in quite a while, buying Ether and net buyers of Ether and Litecoin. Still, given the increase in price from a few months ago, we're still seeing retail dollar demand, to draw out loans against their crypto.
Interesting. Fascinating. David, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm sure we'll see you back here again in a few weeks.
Thank you. And a quick plug, we just launched our OTC desk, which is also getting a lot of attention and, from the institutional space, and really, happy to announce that.
Where can people find out more about that?
So you can go to our website, and there's a tab at the top called Institutions, and you can find some information about it there. You can also email institutions@blockfi.com.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Tina.